All right, there we are. We are live. It's Justin Fox, Backers Live. I'm here with Cam Tabarer. Cam, welcome back for, I guess, episode 2 of the Cam and Justin show.
Yes, well, everybody, welcome back. Thanks for having me back as well. Hope everybody had a great week, and we're just getting ready for the weekend, and can't wait to try some bootleggers actually on the weekends. And I recommend everybody to do that. We'll talk about it a little later.
Yeah, no, exactly. So obviously it's the weekend. It's Friday. What better way than to kick off our Friday talking about a craft cocktail like Bootleggers. So let's talk a little bit about you've actually got some exclusive news sort of to release. I think there was an email went out to those kind of involved in the inner circle of Bootleggers. Not sure how many that is. A few hundred, a few thousand. How many people are on that sort of list?
Yeah, so we like to build a community, right? And build community around our brand, around our audience, people who, are enthusiasts of art and entertainment and love what we do and like to be involved with it. So we got about over 2,000 contacts. Most of them are local in Vancouver, like about 90% of them. And there's some in California, some around the world. And the email went out today to everybody in that list that there is a first of many, hopefully, client appreciations exclusive event by Bootleggers. We've been kind of like brainstorming to do this for a while. I think this is a perfect time. And we said, what better way to encourage people to join the journey with our crowdfunding campaign and invest whatever amount within the crowdfunding campaign and secure their spot as a guest to the first edition of our exclusive client appreciation party, which is at a private venue. Super cool. There's going to be live music. There's going to be open bar, sampling of cocktails of Bootleggers, and it's going to be a lot of cool people around to meet and network with.
Awesome. So we obviously can't release the location right now, but stay tuned. Obviously, if you do invest, obviously you would get access to that as well. Other exclusive events coming up. So
we don't want to keep. And it's on Thursday. It's on Thursday next week, and September 28th at just after working hours, 6:30 p.m. start.
Perfect. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Bootleggers. We talked a little bit about sort of the business and what's happening and that sort of thing the other day when we were on. So if people are having questions, obviously tell us a little bit, recap for those that maybe missed the last show. What is Bootleggers? Quick inspiration for it. And then let's dive into, what we're going to talk about, sort of where you see it and the virility or virality of Bootleggers and why it's different from, the rest out there, right? Better than the rest.
Of course. So Bootleggers Cocktail is the outcome of a 5-year entrepreneurial journey with a mission to bring art into an engaging entertainment model. It could be an event, it could be a product, it could be a venue, but the outcome for us from the business perspective was the scalable component of this thought, and that was an actual canned craft cocktail, which is inspired by art. And is a real craft cocktail, real ingredients, non-carbonated, is exactly the same cocktail that you pay 15, 16, 20 bucks in a cocktail bar. Now it's available in a can in a liquor store near your house or in a lot of venues and events around the city for a lot less than that. And you can always have it. You can go to a beach, sit down in a park, have a sip. You can go to somebody's house, bring a whole bunch of cans and drink it with your friends. You can be at home, watch a TV with your family and have a cocktail. That's the idea. We want to make craft cocktails a good drink accessible to everybody anywhere they are.
And so this is a term maybe I think is maybe clarification and just so that we know, when you say cocktail, describe cocktail. What does that mean? Like, I get the word sort of like an alcoholic beverage, but describe the difference, and I've had people, and I'll sort of play a bit of a, there already is the kind of the hard lemonades and the seltzers and those types of drinks out there. How does this differentiate for, and just quickly, I'll say it even online, the you can share the link to this on your LinkedIn. The other link is for the back end, the StreamYard link. Anyways, just that's live. We're production live while we're doing it.
Yes,
but
we're doing
live
live
production. Describe what a cocktail is, in regards to, the difference between, like I said, you've got beers, you've got rum and coke, you've got a Mike's Hard Lemonade. What is
Yes, of
Bootleggers,
course.
and what is a cocktail?
So as you touched on a good point, that look, a lot of products that are out there in the market today, they're all what we call them seltzers, right? They're carbonated water with spirits, alcohol, mostly neutral grain spirits, and flavoring agents. Some of them are artificial flavors, some of them are natural flavors. Natural flavors are powders, extracts that are derived from natural ingredients, but it still is a powder, right? It's a concentrate. You add it. What we do, we make a cocktail, a real cocktail. You go to a fancy cocktail bar in Vancouver. If you're around, the Kiefer bar, for example, is a great example, right? Or you go to a fancy restaurant, they have a good bar program. You go to house cocktails, right? It's $15, $20, $25 sometimes. There is about 2 ounces of 40% spirit in it. There is also, a lot of good flavors, herbs, exotic fruits. And it's really gone through an artistic process, like a chef, like a mixologist, right? You actually create something, it balance out the flavors, you add an element to it. It's an experience, right? It's more than just a drink. That's why you pay for it. That's what we are after. That fancy cocktail that you drink in a cocktail bar, it has a lot of different varieties of flavors. It's not even a classic. It could have 1 or 2 different types of alcohol. It could have 2, 3 different types of juice, herbs, syrups, extracts, spices, all sorts of cool things in it, right? And that's basically what Bootleggers is. Bootleggers is a real craft cocktail that is shelf stable enough through our trade secret to be able to package in cans or bottles for retail market. Whereas everything else in the market is just flavor, spirit, and carbonated water. So that's the difference between a cocktail, a craft cocktail, and a seltzer, right? Or what we call a highball, right? A highball that you go rum and coke, whiskey, ginger ale, right? Vodka soda is basically spirit, a pop or carbonated water, and flavor. That's exactly the same model, right? We are not that. We are a real craft cocktail. We are focusing on bringing that experience to people through our product.
Perfect. And so, I mean, I think the names are kind of interesting. Do you want to maybe go through I think there was 3 or 4 at the event the other night, maybe the name, and maybe,
Yeah,
they sort of had listed, sort of tequila with, some mango, I think.
of course, yes.
What are some of the flavors that currently exist? And
Yeah.
are there
So
similar
yeah,
treats out there that they
mhm.
maybe are emulating, or are they like completely unique creations?
That's right. They're actually very unique. They're all original recipes. There is nothing like it. We had 4 recipes available in the first round in Vancouver. There were 2 of them made with vodka, 2 of them made with tequila. The idea was to have a very diverse flavor profile. So if somebody likes sweet, somebody likes spicy, somebody like lighter flavor, somebody like a little bitter, somebody like fruity, somebody like floral and delicate, there's all sorts of different flavor profiles, right? Now, in the new round that this crowdfunding is focused on as well, we're reducing to 3. We're changing them a little bit and we're adding a new one. So we have one that is a classic, actually, a modern classic, as we call it, espresso martini. We make the best. You can shake it 10 seconds, you pour it in a coupe, and it foams beautifully, balanced on the coffee and chocolate and vodka flavor. That's going to be the one. Then there are 2 other originals, one made with tequila, one made with mezcal, one of the first mezcal can cocktails in the world, actually, that's going to be released. And the 2 flavors, one of them is the tequila with passion fruit. It's like a passion fruit margarita with a hint of mango and lime. And the other one with mezcal is with grapefruit, yuzu, Japanese citrus, very aromatic. And bergamot, the Earl Grey tea, is nice and earthy and a little bitter. It's actually very balanced on flavor profile. They're not sweet. They're not too spicy, too dry. They're very balanced. And they go through a different flavor profile. So whatever you like, there is one for you. These 3 are going to be the base of the growth in the next phase. And then after that, in the beginning of 2024, we're going to add a low calorie that's already approved. We're going to add another flavor back, which one of my favorites with tequila is hibiscus, jalapeno, and blackberries. And then in summer of next year, we're going to complete that with 2 additional, which is one of them being non-alcoholic version, and the other one being the new recipe that we're not going to really reveal that yet, and it's going to be a secret. So we're going to wrap it up with a total of 6 flavors in total in 2024, mid 2024. And the reason we're taking steps rather than just jumping in a hoop is because obviously we get feedback from our customers and the market, right? We want to make something that not only we like, everybody likes, and there is something for everybody, even if you don't drink alcohol, even if you like low calorie, even if you like something different. We want to be in a point that everybody can have a Bootleggers to enjoy. That's the target.
Yeah, the one, the lime sort of mango tequila one was
Passion fruit, yes.
Yeah, that
Phoenix
one.
Feather. Yeah,
Phoenix
about the
Feather,
names. So the names are the name of the art pieces that are the
right.
labels,
Okay.
actually. So
Okay.
we don't, because there's the original recipe, we want to make that connection with the art, right? So we actually name it after the art. One is
Right.
Dance of Shadows in the new ones that come, and you see a shadow of a person. Is beautiful. It's very psychedelic a little bit. And the Phoenix Feather as well. Phoenix Feather was name of one of the drinks during the prohibition times in the US, if you remember, when the alcohol was illegal. And actually, on that note, the Bootleggers, why we call the brand Bootleggers, is actually because of reflecting on the prohibition time, because the golden era of cocktail started right after the prohibition in 1920s, right? The Gatsby era. And the reason people started drinking cocktails was during the prohibition, the bootleggers, the smugglers of alcohol through Canada to US and from Mexico to US, they were bringing alcohol, but because of so many middlemen in the middle, they were all trying to make money. They would water down their spirits multiple times, mix it with other spirits. It was not a very pleasant product in the end. If it was Canadian whiskey, what you would get was like not a very tasty Canadian whiskey, right?
Right.
So they ended up mixing it with flavors, like with liqueurs like vermouth. Like Manhattan, one of the most classic cocktails of all time, is made with Canadian whiskey.
Right.
Sweet vermouth, which is a wine-based aperitif. It's got some spice, it's got some sweetness, it's got some color and flavor and depth. And the bitters are highly concentrated extracts that target a certain type of flavor profile, and 1 or 2 drops just adds a whole new layer on the aroma and the flavor. And with that, they made Manhattan, because the Canadian whiskey that was smuggled to New York was not drinkable. That
Right.
like literally that was the reason they made Manhattan, and it is made in Manhattan, but it's made with Canadian whiskey.
Right.
So that's why we're bootleggers, because we are smuggling a real craft cocktail from real cocktail bars right now in these days, and we put it in a can and make it accessible for people outside of the cocktail bar, and that's the story.
Yeah, no, it's funny actually. Just side note, I was at a friend's cottage up in Sault Ste. Marie area, sort of northern Ontario, and there's sort of, I don't know if it's, I think it's real, but Al Capone had sort of an island up there, or like a property up there, that he would sort of in Ontario and kind of smuggle through into the States, into sort of northern, I guess, Michigan or whatever that U.S.
Yeah.
is there, right? So yeah, there's some sort of like legends of the bootleggers up in northern Ontario,
absolutely.
Sault Ste. Marie. Yeah, so interesting. Cool. So okay, awesome. I mean, obviously, we were there at the event. You guys should definitely come out to the event on Thursday if you get the invite. Tell us. Obviously, the drinks are phenomenal. You're building a brand, you're building a community around that. What we talked about the difference between what's currently on there. I mean, you sort of touched on the shelf life, but the fact that it still has I think a 12-month, is it, or what's the?
Yeah, it's about a year. Yeah, it's about a year shelf life.
Still retail. Has that retail capability. Where do you see, or how confident, or what gives you confidence to see sort of how this is going to take off? Like, if somebody's watching, what, and they're sort of sitting on the fence, what are their thoughts? What makes Bootleggers that different? Obviously the cocktails are great. The building the community. What are some of the things, if you had to list maybe the 1 or 2 or 3 things that you would think are going to really take you from where you are today to where you see it can be, and where do you see it being in 1 to 2 to 3 years? I know you touched on it last.
Honestly, I think it's best to always go back to our competitive advantage over other brands. Like the first fact that we are an art-inspired brand. We connect with people and we trigger emotions through our experience of flavor and art and the community that we build around it. So it's more than a product. It's a lifestyle. right? It's kind of like Red Bull. Imagine if you invested in Red Bull before it went viral, right? That's exactly where we are. We are a lifestyle art and entertainment brand with that product at the front end. Did we just get some technical difficulties?
I think you kind of froze there. We're still live, so yeah,
okay,
don't worry.
Let me just stop and turn the camera back on. Still not working. Do you hear me though?
We can hear you. Yeah,
there?
I'll put myself as the. So we're dealing with some technical difficulties in the live stream.
Yes.
This is what happens when you're live, but
yes.
yeah.
So
we can still hear you, but
yeah. I'll turn
it's
off the camera. Yes, and So talking about that and why we think it's going to be blowing up in the next 2-3 years is the community, the art, the feelings that we trigger, and the product itself. Like, again, if you tasted it, there's nothing like it. There's absolutely nothing like it in the market. The early adapters have been very giving extremely positive feedback about it. The fact that we launched the crowdfunding campaign just 5 days ago, less than 5 days ago, officially in a business day model, and we already at I think 20% of the target. This is great. This shows that the product has traction, that the community that we're building around it believes in the product, and we have the support of many people across the industries and communities that we try to connect: art, entertainment, and hospitality. Another thing that is very important is the creative powerhouses that are behind this brand. And we are creative in marketing, in development of the brand, in development of the product, in the way we sell, in the way we promote, in the way we attract funding, and in the way we run our operations. And there is no challenge that we cannot overcome, because there is always a solution and a creative way to address it. And that's probably the most critical point for success of a brand in the long run, to have founders that are so down to earth, but at the same time creative, out of the box, that could address any challenge, regardless of how difficult it could be, to build a new path, build a new way, build a new channel, build a new funnel, and make sure the main goal is going to be achieved, no matter how difficult obstacles are going to be along the way.
Perfect. Well, appreciate it. Well, Cam, I appreciate you joining me. We'll get your face back on there for a second.
Yes,
but it's still frozen.
It's
okay. It's okay. We'll figure out. Everyone else, thanks for joining us. Obviously, Justin Fox from Backers, Cam Tabareri from Bootleggers, or the Volatile Project. Check them out on the Backers portal.
Absolutely.
If you're so inclined, and it fits within your investment style, check it out. Everyone else, Justin Fox, Cam Tabareri, and go check out the grab a Bootleggers. Where can they find Bootleggers? I know you said in some stores, in some locations here in Vancouver. Where
Bootleggers website. If you go to bootleggerscocktail.com, there is a tab for where to buy, and the list and address and directions to all the liquor stores in Vancouver and in British Columbia is there, and you can find where to get it.
And it's at some locations too, right? Some restaurants and bars and
it's growing. We got in a couple of restaurants now at Mint Grill on Davie Street, and we're at the Harbor Event Center, which is the biggest nightclub in the city as well. And that's just growing.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, everyone else, appreciate it. Cam, have a great weekend. Everyone
Thank you.
Enjoy your weekend.
We'll be back next week.
We'll be back next week. All right,
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.